Hi everyone, Sue from IC Sugar. Welcome to my channel. A couple of days ago I was asked to make a teacup for a top of a cake, and it's been quite a while since I've made a teacup, so I did struggle to find one that I could use to mold on. I did eventually locate an old Bunnykins range or Royal Dalton Bunnykins range teacup, which is actually a child's cup. So I had to make a few modifications, but yep, there was one of these in the top of my cupboard, and thank goodness for that, because I struggled to find one at the shops as well. Anyway, so I've just laid out here what I am using for this. So satin ice, gum paste, a glass, rolling pin, obviously, impression mat, and some icing sugar. So I did spend a little while trying to figure out how I was going to make it, and I was sitting there going, perhaps I could buy a mold. And I thought, well, that's probably not going to really work, so I struggled to get a mold that was the size that I was looking for. So hence why I settled on my Royal Dalton. But the other problem that I had was actually creating the cup itself, because obviously the original cup has a handle. So I actually wanted the really nice pattern that was on the outside of the cup. So rather than trying to mold my sugar paste on the inside of the teacup, sort of didn't really work. I couldn't get it in there as nicely as I wanted. So I thought, oh, this is looking a bit tricky. So I figured, well, perhaps I can go and try and find a glass. So I went through the cupboards and I found a glass, lucky enough, has the same base shape as my plate. So I was really happy about that. So I thought, we'll give that a shot and see how that works. So you can see what I'm doing here is I rolled out my roll icing. Anyway, I rolled out my gum paste, nice and thin, and have just pressed it into the saucer. The trick here is to get it reasonably thin, because the saucer in real life is not thick. So to get it as lifelike as possible, I did do it, a couple of mil. And you can see here that my paste was actually quite dry, which sort of helped it not to stick to the plate, which was pretty good. I put this video together just to show you how I made it, because the cup itself is already finished, and you'll see in a minute that I'll show you the finished product. But I sort of figured I'd go through and repeat it and show you how I've done it. And yeah, if you ever need to make a teacup, it's hopefully something you can follow along. So once I pressed it into the saucer, I then let it sit for 24 hours to dry. I tipped it out and then let it sit for a little bit longer, so the surface that is against the saucer also had the opportunity to dry. And here, I'll show you in a minute. Here we go. The dry one that has been finished. You see it looks really nice, and from a distance you actually can't really tell that it is a sugar paste saucer. I was super impressed. So yeah, that was really nice. When it came to making the cup, that was a little trickier. Again, as I said before, I tried to press it into the actual Royal Dalton cup. It didn't come out. I wanted the outside shape, so I thought this is not going to work. But the glass was great. The only thing I found with the glass, because it, I suppose perhaps the surface, the icing did stick a lot easier to the glass surface than it actually did to the ceramic plate. So that was a little bit tricky. So what I ended up doing was doing a lot more icing sugar, and look, even then it still did stick. And when I actually went to take it off after it had again dried for about 24 hours, I ended up having to use a knife slightly just to sort of separate the two surfaces. The actual cup itself was a lot longer than what I'm showing you here, and I'm just merely putting this together to show you how I made it. So the cup itself was probably about half the actual height of the glass, not what I've got. But yeah, so basically just sort of molding it over, and then I used my impression mat just to get a nice trim around the outside. So you'll see in a minute that actually came out really, really quite nicely. Yeah, just trimming it off. So with so here we go, just pressing around the outside and just getting that nice impression there, which looked pretty good. But I suppose you could probably do anything. You could sort of, if I guess if you haven't have enough time, you probably could have even painted roses on it or whatever it is that you wanted. But this was supposed to be a Tiffany blue cup, and it's they're not overly not overly detailed. With the As you can see, with the actual cup on the right side, I had put a nice sort of base on it to elevate it a little bit off the plate, which was closer to the actual original teacup. So again, all I did use was a small bit of round paste, smoothed it out, and just eventually just stuck it to the top, and just a little bit of water just to seal the joins. The handle was made again the day before. Rolled it out nice and smooth, flattened it a little bit so it represented the handle on the cup, and just let it sit again 24 hours, and then I stuck it on with some royal icing the following day. Again, let it sit a little bit longer so it could dry. I just used a circle mold here, and so I could sort of give me an outline. As you could see, I did use a bit of pencil line so I knew where I was painting, and that came out quite nice. So I used a Wilton white for that, and just some pale blue. So you can use powdered white with alcohol as well. It does just as good a job, but I preferred the Wilton white. Here we are, just painting again the cup, and to finish off, what I did is I eventually stuck the cup to the saucer with royal icing. Again, let it sit for another 24 hours because it was to go on the top of a cake, and the last thing you're wanting to happen is for the cup to fall off. I finished it off actually with a bit of really nice gold around the trim, around the handles, and I made a sugar rose that I actually just sat in the cup, so I'll show you in a minute. So I was really happy actually, because from a distance it did look exactly the same as a real cup. So yeah, it came out really nice. And I just popped the rose in the top, you'll see in a minute. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it.